Every year in the United States, nearly 1.4 million adults over age 70 end up in the hospital. And not because they were sick, but because of routine medical screenings. Screenings they were told were necessary. The shocking truth is this. According to leading geriatric specialists at Mayo Clinic, almost half of those procedures should never have happened at all. As a physician who has spent nearly 3 decades caring for older adults across this country, I have to be honest with you. We are facing a quiet crisis in senior health care. Too many older Americans are being pushed into tests and procedures that simply do not match their age, their needs, or their goals for the years ahead. Before we go any further, I want to ask you 3 questions. Take a moment. Your answers matter. Has your doctor recommended a test recently that you did not fully understand, yet felt you were expected to accept? Have you ever felt rushed into a screening simply because you reached a certain age? And have you ever sensed that the system is more focused on checklists than on who you are as a human being? If any of these feel familiar, this video may change the way you protect your health from this point forward. I want to speak to you today not just as a physician, but as someone who understands the worries and hopes of older Americans. You deserve honesty. You deserve clarity. And you deserve care that supports your life, not care that pushes you into procedures without true benefit. Stay with me. By the end of this video, I will share a truth that most hospitals avoid saying out loud, but you need to hear if you want to stay independent and in control of your decisions. Please like this video and subscribe to Senior Vitality Path. Your support helps us bring real, evidence-based guidance to older adults across America. Now, let's move into what the healthcare industry rarely discusses. Why 3 tests, often called mandatory after age 70, may do more harm than good. Why older Americans feel pushed into these tests. Across the United States, many seniors are still being guided by screening plans that were originally designed for people in their 50s. People with decades of life expectancy ahead. People whose bodies bounce back quickly from procedures. But when those same plans are used on someone in their 70s or 80s, the math changes. A simple polyp can take more than a decade to become dangerous, yet the risks of a colonoscopy can show up the same day. Immediate dehydration, bleeding, or complications from sedation become far more likely than any long-term benefit. It becomes a moment when the danger of the test is greater than the danger of the disease. Hospitals also receive some of the highest reimbursements for these procedures. A routine colonoscopy can cost several $1,000s. A prostate biopsy much more. Cardiac stents even more than that. When a healthy older adult can generate $10,000 or $20,000 in revenue, the system often leans toward saying you should do it. Even when you have no symptoms. Even when the science says there is little benefit at your age. And for many older Americans, there is a deep trust in doctors. A belief that saying no is being difficult or uncooperative. I see it every week. Seniors agreeing to procedures they do not feel comfortable with, simply because they do not want to disappoint anyone. Have you ever felt that pressure? The result is predictable. More hospital stays. More complications, more stress, and a real loss of independence that did not need to happen. As both a physician and a counselor, I hear the same quiet frustration from so many older adults. They want care that respects their stage of life. They want choices that match how they feel. And they want someone to finally say that it is okay to ask why. Test 1 colonoscopy in later life. When doctors recommend a colonoscopy to older adults, it often sounds like a routine part of staying healthy. But behind that recommendation is a system that financially rewards each procedure. Hospitals receive some of their highest reimbursements from colonoscopies. Specialists are paid per case. Surgical centers track how many screenings they complete each month. It creates a pressure that many seniors feel, even if no one says it directly. The scientific evidence tells another story. Studies across the United States show that most polyps grow very slowly, often taking more than 10 years to become dangerous. If your last colonoscopy in earlier adulthood was clear, the chance of developing a life-threatening cancer within the next decade is extremely small. At the same time, research from JAMA shows that the risk of complications rises sharply with age. Bowel perforation occurs in a small but meaningful number of patients. Many more end up in the hospital for dehydration or heart-related stress from sedation. The risk today is real. The potential benefit is distant. I think of a man from Texas who stayed active, walked every morning, and rarely missed a day of feeling well. His doctor insisted on another colonoscopy, and he agreed because he trusted the system. By that evening he was back in the hospital with severe abdominal pain. The following morning he was recovering from emergency surgery. And in the end, the test found nothing concerning at all. Have you ever felt that same quiet hesitation? That inner voice wondering if the test is truly right for you? Here is my guidance as both a physician and a counselor. If you have symptoms such as bleeding or sudden changes in your health, you should seek care immediately. But if you feel well and your last evaluation was normal, it is completely appropriate to ask your doctor whether repeating this test supports your goals or simply adds risk. Your health decisions should honor your life, your independence, and the years you still want to live on your own terms. Test 2 PSA screening in later life. When older men hear the word prostate cancer, the first reaction is often fear. But the truth hidden beneath the fear is something most people never hear. Autopsy studies in the United States have shown that a large majority of older men have small clusters of prostate cancer cells. These cells grow so slowly that they never become dangerous. They never cause symptoms. And they never shorten a man's life. That is why many specialists now say that finding these tiny cells is not the same as finding a life-threatening cancer. The problem is that a high PSA number can set off a chain reaction. Many doctors respond by recommending a biopsy. A biopsy may sound routine, but current data from major American medical centers shows a 2 to 3% risk of severe infection. Some men even develop sepsis, which is one of the leading causes of emergency admissions after prostate procedures. And if a biopsy finds a small, harmless cancer, the pressure to treat can be enormous. Surgery, radiation, and hormone treatments carry serious lifelong effects. Incontinence is common. Sexual function can be permanently affected. And all of this may be done for a cancer that would never have touched the man's natural lifespan. I think of a man from Arizona who took care of his health and swam every week. His PSA rose slightly, and his doctor pushed for a biopsy. Within days he was fighting a bloodstream infection in the intensive care unit. When he finally recovered, his daily life had changed forever. And the cancer they found was the harmless kind, the type that specialists agree does not threaten survival. Have you ever wondered how many men agree to tests simply because they trust the system? How many believe they must say yes even when something inside them says slow down? Here is my guidance. If you have new symptoms or a strong family history, testing may be appropriate. But if you feel well, it is reasonable to talk openly with your doctor about whether a PSA test truly serves your health. You deserve care that protects your quality of life, your dignity, and your independence. Test 3 cardiac stress testing in people without symptoms. Stress testing may sound like a smart way to check the heart, but for older adults without symptoms, it often creates more risk than reassurance. The heart does not recover from intense strain the way it once did. The test pushes the heart to its limit, and the physical stress alone can trigger problems in someone who felt perfectly well just hours before. On top of that, studies from major American institutions show that false positives are common in older adults. The test says something is wrong when the heart is actually healthy. Recent data published in JAMA Cardiology followed 10,000 symptom-free adults across the United States. Those who received routine stress testing did not live longer. They did not avoid heart attacks, but many ended up with procedures they never needed. Stents, blood thinners, surgical interventions. Once the test suggests a problem, the system tends to move fast, even when the evidence shows that a blockage that is mild or stable does not require intervention. I think of a woman from Ohio who enjoyed yoga, gardening, and staying active with her family. She agreed to a stress test because it sounded responsible. The result looked abnormal. She was sent to the catheterization lab where a small blockage was found. A stent was placed even though the blockage was not dangerous. Months later she developed bleeding in her stomach from the blood thinners. A woman who felt strong and independent suddenly found herself entering the hospital again and again. All because of a test she did not need. Have you ever felt pressured into doing something simply because it was labeled preventive care? That moment when the recommendation feels more like a requirement. Here is my guidance. If you have chest pain or unusual shortness of breath, you should be evaluated immediately. But if you feel well, you have every right to ask whether a stress test will truly help you. Your decisions should prioritize quality of life, not unnecessary procedures, and you deserve care that considers your whole story, not just a test result. What older adults can do to protect their health. When people ask me what truly increases longevity, I often point them toward the science. Harvard and Mayo Clinic have both published strong evidence showing that lifestyle habits, not aggressive testing, create the biggest gains in healthy years. Walking for 30 minutes a day. Strength training twice a week. Eating a Mediterranean-inspired diet rich in vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats. Managing stress in gentle ways like meditation, prayer, or quiet routines. And staying socially connected to family, friends, community groups, or faith circles. These habits can add 5 to 10 years of healthy life, far more than any screening that offers little benefit at an older age. But the deeper truth is this. These habits nurture more than the body. They support confidence, independence, and purpose. They help people wake up with energy and end the day feeling grounded. They protect memory and mood. They bring calm to a stage of life that can feel overwhelming. Many older adults tell me that walking or community activities make them feel more alive than any medical test ever has. Have you ever noticed how even a short walk can lift your spirits? When it comes to medical decisions, I encourage every older adult to have open, honest conversations with their doctor. Ask how much a test will actually extend your life. Ask about the real risks of complications. Ask whether finding a small abnormality would change anything meaningful about your care. And always ask what the major medical organizations recommend for someone in your stage of life. These questions are not confrontational. They are protective. They allow you to stay informed and in control of your own health. The goal is not to avoid medicine. The goal is to choose care that supports your well-being. Care that respects your values. Care that focuses on quality of life instead of unnecessary procedures. You deserve nothing less. As we reach the later chapters of life, the goal is no longer to chase every test or follow every checklist the system places in front of us. The goal becomes something deeper. Living well. Living lightly. Living with joy and steadiness. Waking up without fear of another procedure. Moving through each day without the shadow of complications. Health at this stage is not about adding more appointments. It is about adding more life. Many older adults tell me the same quiet truth. They want to feel strong enough to walk, rested enough to enjoy family, and calm enough to savor the small moments that matter. They want freedom, not more medical labels. They want clarity, not pressure. And they want care that honors who they are, not care that treats them like a checklist. Sometimes the best form of self-protection is not another screening. It is the courage to say no when a test does not serve you. It is choosing habits that lift your body and spirit. It is asking honest questions and expecting honest answers. Caring for yourself the right way often means living longer and living better. If this message resonates with you, let me know in the comments. Share your experience. Share the choices you have made to protect your own well-being. Your voice can reassure someone else who is facing the same decisions. And before you go, please like this video and subscribe to Senior Vitality Path. Your support helps us bring more clear, compassionate guidance to older adults across America. You deserve a life defined by strength, confidence, and peace. And we are here to walk that path with you.